Hello everybody, my name is Zombie Marshmallow and I'm here to talk to you guys about my unpopular art opinions. Feel free to disagree with me if you have opposing opinions, but please be respectful to everybody in the comments. But please do comment your opinion on this and all my unpopular art takes. Number 1, I think that tracing is okay. I think that tracing artwork is okay, especially if you're doing it for a learning experience. I think tracing artwork that is in the public domain is okay to do because there's a lot of artwork that is in the public domain as of right now. I suggest looking into it because you can learn a lot from the past and past artists. And since it's in the public domain, I believe that means you can sell it. But please do your own research before taking my advice. What I suggest if you do trace is always be transparent about it. Don't hide it, because hiding it is where you really can get into some trouble. Make sure to credit the right people. I think when it comes down to public domain, you don't have to, but I do suggest at least show screen caps of the things that you're using for tracing over and the heavily referenced stuff you might use as a way to build a very trusting audience. The worst thing you can do is trace and not say it anywhere, because I think a lot of people can see that as kind of misleading and kind of just awful in general. I trace and I try to make sure to disclose that whenever I can. Most of the trace stuff that I have is for my own personal artwork, and the few things that I've done and sold I have disclosed to the commissioners about it being traced off of public domain stuff. I don't trace off of individual artists out there. I don't think I ever will, because I feel like it can be kind of harmful to the artist. The only way I see myself possibly tracing off of another artist is if I come to them and ask them, hey, can I trace off this one specific piece? But I don't see myself ever really doing that. I think tracing off of real life photos is good as well, especially just some you see on Pinterest. I mean, I've seen so many people drawing people from Pinterest. This is actually an example of me tracing off of a real photo of Gerard Way's wife, I believe. She was holding a guitar in this, and this is kind of what I'm talking about with this. I think that tracing off of real life photos can be very helpful and help you kind of get down just the basic posing of some things. And I think it can be, if you want to grow your art to be more realistic or more anatomy wise better, I think that it's good to trace off of real photos. And I think that definitely just be transparent what you're doing. Credit people when needed, credit when necessary, credit if people ask. Just don't be scared to kind of link it, basically. Don't purposely not link it, but also don't be scared to not do it because of what other people might think. I think that I suggest just make sure to always be transparent about it. Real life photos are really helpful to trace off of, at least in my experience. I don't usually trace one for one, but I do try to trace it just to get the pose right, and then I adjust a little bit here and there to my liking. I do suggest everybody to do that, and if you wanted to trace from a specific artist, I suggest getting in contact with them and asking them if you could use their work as a way to learn. I think a lot of artists might not be comfortable with that, but as long, it never hurts to try. Unless they have it on their page that they are not uncomfortable with that, then definitely respect the artists around you. I deeply suggest, if you do want to trace, look into the public domain images that are free and available at your fingertips. Individual people, I think, be more considerate about how other people might feel, and make sure to be very transparent and make sure to contact those people if you do trace off of them. A lot of artists I've seen that are bigger are okay with people tracing, and a lot of bigger studios, I think, are okay with it too. I mean, I've seen 1,000 Naruto edits, and I don't think that they really care for people who trace off of animations. But then I really do think make sure to take this with a grain of salt. Do your own research. Make sure to be polite and kind to everybody in the community, because a lot of people do not like tracers, and there is a lot of people out there who are doing it wrong, which is stealing artwork and not being very transparent about it, as well as just basically tracing over pieces that the original artist is not comfortable with people tracing over, which is completely fair and valid. Do not trace over anyone who is uncomfortable with it. Do not try to put people do not try to use people's art as if you own it, because you do not. in the end, if you don't like tracing, I totally understand, but please do not bash those who do trace. As long as they're doing it correctly and not harmfully, I think it can be a very, very good experience, as well as it can be very helpful. And you are allowed to sell whatever traced images you have made of public domain images, and I've done that actually. I can show you guys a piece. It's going to come up later in this video, but there's a piece coming up that I have done that is traced over a public domain image. Number 2, I think that art shouldn't have rules, and I actually have a lot of unpopular opinions on this. I think that art should not be pretty. I think that art should be ugly. I think that you should have clashing colors. I think that you should have bad anatomy. I think that you should have the most crazy style ever, because art is freedom, and I think that you should have freedom however you want, because being ugly shouldn't be something that we should try to actively change unless you want to change it. If you want your art to be a certain way, go for it. But I think that everybody who doesn't, I also believe that art is kind of a person-to-person experience. I think that everybody wants a different style in their art, and if you are going for a certain style, try to pursue it. But don't feel pressured to be a certain way by other people who have never been in your shoes or aren't you, basically, because everybody has a different beauty standard for art, and I think that a lot of it can be very restricting, and I think that's why a lot of people end up tracing, because they're scared of being ugly. They're scared of having ugly art. I think a lot of people copy because of that, because they are scared of not being good enough. And perhaps I'm coping here. I don't know. I like my art the way it is, and I like the journey that I've gone on myself with my own art. And I think to make something truly original is to break the boundaries of what society might think is beauty. So, like, put ugly colors together, have an ugly style, do ugly art, and just have fun. I think in the end, art should be fun. And if you want to do something more professionally, then go for it, but don't let anyone force you to be a certain way when it comes down to art. Art should be ugly. I personally don't mind the way most art looks. I know when an art style isn't my style, and I usually just walk away, because honestly, in the end, a lot of people are always going to have different art takes, you know? This is a piece that I traced, actually, that was in the public domain, which I suggest you guys to all do, because it is really fun, and it helped me kind of understand anatomy a little bit better with this, and this is how I usually learn. I usually try to just go about learning on my own rather than get a bunch of criticism from other people, because I know what I want to strive for, and I want to strive for something that I like and something that I enjoy. And in the end, this is what I enjoy. I'm going to just keep doing art like that, and I'm not against looking into new, different ways of drawing, but I feel like I don't like the art community that is constantly kind of calling people's art ugly because it doesn't fit a certain beauty standard of art. And I feel like art should be a freedom from the beauty standard. I think that art should be ugly, really. I can't stop saying that enough. I really think ugly art should exist, and there should be more, because that's how you make something truly original. And that's what I usually try to do. Not to say that all my work's original. I think that I'm heavily inspired by a lot of things. But I think that going about art as a way to make perfection is not healthy. I think that art should be whatever you want it to be. If you want to draw the same thing 1,000 times over, do it. You're not going to get worse at other things. If you want to draw other things, you can. If you want to get better at art, you can. Everything's in the palm of your hand when it comes down to art. And you should never be scared to just pick up that pencil and be absolutely horrible at it, because that's true freedom, is to be bad at something and to be able to find peace in that. I think that's what we should all strive to do. I don't like beauty standards in society, and I don't like beauty standards in art. I think that if you want to follow them, go for it, but don't try to push your idea of perfection on to other people, because I don't think that helps bring out actual originality. I think that pushes it down, actually. It just forces people to kind of fit in the same square. And we all have plenty of those perfect artists out there. And you know what? You can be perfect too in your own way. You can make perfect art. And you're the only person you should you should please with your art. It's just saying that makes me feel better, because I want to say that to everybody who's an artist out there who's starting art. This is for those people who are just starting, or just people who don't want to be professionals and just pick it up as a hobby, because there's a lot of people like that in the community. Your art doesn't have to be good. You just gotta ask yourself, does this feel good? Do I feel happy? Am I relaxed? Is this a good experience? This is the third hot take I have. I think Mary Sue's are fun, and I think more people should have Mary Sue characters, especially if it's based off of something you grew up with. Go ham. Have fun. I think self-shipping is awesome too. Make yourself a character. Ship yourself with your fucking crush. Go for it. What is stopping you? Nobody should stop you from having that kind of fun, because it is really fun. Make art that you love. And if your art is shipping yourself with Kakashi Sensei, go for it, queen. Don't let anyone stop you. I think art should be free. I think art should be freedom. I think that as long as it doesn't have anything illegal, of course, I'm just gonna try to cover my bases here. Nothing illegal. I do think that you should have fun. Make your characters overpowered. Make your characters super cool. Have fun with your characters. Don't feel like they have to be a certain way. Don't try to be a plain Jane, because nobody wants to read about a plain Jane. I think balance can be important, but if you're not really looking for balance and you're just looking for a fun time with friends, just do it. Don't let anyone else try to give you tips on how your character should be. I think if you're in a group, definitely think about your group as well. But honestly, in my experience, I used to have a great group back when I was growing up, where my character was definitely a Mary Sue, but we still were able to have a lot of fun. And I think that's still possible. I think a lot of people who hate on Mary Sue's just hate new artists and hate new people who are tapping into their creative potential. I feel like you shouldn't have the fear of trying to be the best out of the best with writing, and you have to have the most dynamic characters. I think that just takes the fun out of it. I think that learning along the way is the best way to go when it comes down to creating characters, because you really get first-hand experience on it, and I feel like that's the best way to learn, is to first-hand feel that, you know? At least with my experience, I grew up kind of with the whole Mary Sue, like, rampant in the community, kind of everybody's OCs or Mary Sues or whatever, and it was such a quote-unquote bad thing, but it really wasn't. It was just people who were angry at kids having fun and having characters that just didn't make them, I guess, made them feel lesser, I don't know. I think that having fun, loving, creatively powerful characters is completely fine. I mean, I have a ton of Mary Sues now, and I'm having fun. I'm not exploding. My head hasn't popped off, but I definitely think that it's like, don't go like the complete opposite direction and make like a plain Jane OC too, because I did that when I was growing up. I ended up getting so insecure about my writing that I just made a plain Jane character, which was a very boring character, and I actually lost a lot of like important like roles in my friends' worlds because of it. Basically, just don't feel like your character should be a certain way because other people say it should be. Your character doesn't have to be balanced. You can still have a lot of fun without a balanced character. I mean, with my own experience, I had a lot of fun and my character was definitely not balanced. I think that the most fun you can have with a character is to have like a really powerful character, like an Alicorn Princess OC. It's fun. Like, don't stop yourself. Do it. My unpopular opinion, part 4, callouts. I have a bit of a loose feeling about this. It's always evolving, I feel, but any callouts or beware pages on people who've done illegal activities, please do not make them unless there has been an open case against them in an actual court hearing. Please send all proof that you have of anyone doing illegal activities to the proper authorities, because if you ever want this person to see serious like repercussions for their actions, you're going to want the law to be involved. As much as posting things like that might be good, I do think it can do more harm than good. It has been proven that most allegations being posted first online, I believe, usually end up hindering cases, like if they don't go to the police first, because you are giving the predator time to delete information, as well as please be careful about talking about victims, because you could put victims at risk if you talk about any identifying information about them, or really any information at all. The predator might know personal details about them that they might then retaliate against the victim. So that's kind of what I'm talking about. And I feel like callouts also get into like the pettier ways where they're just people constantly bickering with each other and constantly wanting to shame each other online. And if you're one of those people that just disagrees with somebody and then posts screenshots of private conversations, I just think that, like, personally, it just gives me the bad vibes. I mean, to each their own, I guess. I think it's very harmful because when it comes down to disagreements, especially if it's more simple things like whether or not a character looks similar, like, that kind of stuff is just annoying. I personally don't like seeing it, and I feel like it can very much spiral into a very harmful, toxic situation. And I think a lot of people have had that experience in the community or have seen that unfold, as one of the people getting posted about disappears for a little bit, or they come back with a bunch of clapbacks. It's just a stressful situation, and I don't personally like them. I'm not somebody that will make people feel like go out my way to tell somebody, hey, you shouldn't have made a beware about this person because of a disagreement or because your characters look too similar. Because, honest to God, I don't care. Maybe that's just a terrible thought, but I just don't care. I think that it can be just a headache, to be honest, because a lot of the people in those situations just end up being so childish, and it's just something that never ends up having a solution or a resolution. And honestly, I am going to be honest, I have, back when I was younger, indulged in call-out culture. I don't know how else to say it. Call-out culture, cancel culture. I don't know if it's cancel culture because it's just small accounts fighting each other. But I have been one of those people, and from my personal experience, I never found closure from it. I just found more sadness and stress from it because a lot of people would just be DMing me, and it's really hard to keep all the... At least this is why I probably would never become a commentary channel, is because it's really hard for me to keep everything like in order without messing up, because I have a schizoaffective disorder, which kind of messes up my like line of speech a lot, as you might hear throughout the whole video. But that's just a personal thing. I'm going way too personal with this. Basically, I just don't like seeing call-outs about petty little situations, and I really don't like seeing call-outs about actual predators, because I do see them never really finding... I do see them never really going to jail or seeing any real problem, like real complications come from their actions. I think that the best way to go about illegal activities is to get the law involved. But then again, I'm not in every single situation, so I'd say just do what you think is best if you are in one of those situations, because you probably know more than me. And that's another thing. You probably would know more than me. Don't listen to everybody online. Do your own research. That's another thing. I kind of feel like I've lost the point here, but basically what I'm trying to say is this is just all my unpopular opinions. I don't mind people disagreeing with me. Just be polite in the comments about it, because I will read it. And another unpopular opinion, I guess, it's just an opinion. These aren't even art opinions anymore, is I don't like people trying to just, like, kind of be very aggressive about their own opinions. If you really want to sway somebody to your side, you have to talk to them like a person and not like an enemy, because the only way to really get people to understand you is to try to understand them. Not to say that I think you should move your own judgments to the side to somehow understand me more. I think that you should go about talking to people with respect. Listen to you. Nobody's gonna listen to you if you're being angry and mean and rude about your opinions and saying this is the best opinion out of all the opinions and yours is wrong because of such and such. Like, I don't think that's ever gonna really sway somebody. If anything, you're just gonna get blocked. That's what I do. If somebody's aggressive about something, I usually just block them, because it just doesn't seem like we're going to have a very good conversation. I like hearing people's opinions, though. I like hearing people's point of views on things, and I like having discussions like this without having the stakes so high and, like, canceling people. Not to say that you can really cancel me. I'm, like, so tiny. Literally, I don't exist. What I'm trying to say is, I don't exist. To be canceled is to exist, and I don't exist. So, just disagreeing with me is fine. I think that's actually preferred. I prefer people to disagree and talk to me about it, because I want to broaden my horizons about, like, understanding other people's, just how people think and why their reasoning behind it is. My reasoning behind most of this stuff is because I think creativity should be something that nobody should be fearful of doing. I think you should be creative and have bad art, have Mary Sue characters, trace public domain stuff, trace things from Naruto, trace things from your favorite anime. Don't be scared to have fun with art. And not to say that you should be, I think you should still have morals with your art. Like, I really want to make it clear that I do not support pro-shipping, but I do support ugly art, and I support art that is just having fun. If you're having fun making an alicorn princess OC, make an alicorn princess OC. That's the least harmful thing in the world, basically. And you should have fun with it. I think that art shouldn't have rules unless you want to somehow pursue a career in art. You're gonna have to learn all those rules and stuff. But if you're just doing it as a hobby, or even if you're doing it as a profession but you're a freelance artist, do whatever you want, because art is one of the few things in this world that is free and that you can do literally anything with. And I promise you'll find a group of people that accept you. Just have fun with art, really. Hi, I'm just going off a little bit, but I personally hate conflict, and I don't like sharing my opinions because of that, because most of the time I don't like fighting people about the way I think about things, mostly because I like just minding my own business, and I don't like judging people on their own opinions on things, because in the end, I usually try to judge them on how they treat people rather than what they do with their own, I guess, beliefs, like Christianity and, like, religious stuff, and, like, anything that I disagree with, I usually just don't give a fuck about, because honestly, I don't like conflict. I like just drawing, making cute art, and interacting with good people, and I think everybody kind of does that. I'm just scared of conflict, so this is kind of a big step for me, talking more openly, kind of sharing my own opinions, and I'm not trying to say that my opinions are the right ones. I think that everybody can have their own ability to be right. I think that perfection is also something that is in the eye of the beholder. Like, I think perfection is achievable. That's another thing. I think perfection is achievable as long as you believe it is. I think that if you think that your art is perfect, then it is. Because who else is going to tell you otherwise? Like, nobody really knows. Perfection is whatever you think it is. Everybody else, fuck them, fuck them. They don't understand it. You understand it. Your opinions are probably the most real ones you're going to ever meet in life. Not to say that you shouldn't try to understand other people's, but I think it's just fair to, just believe in yourself, basically. Well, I'll wrap up my video here. I want to try to post on YouTube more and just try to have, like, more interaction with my community of people, and I want to open my horizons and just try to learn more, as well as to talk to people, because I'm open to talking, and I'm open to getting to know the people who are watching, and I want to be a good person to everybody who watches, and I just hope you guys strive to be the best version of yourselves. And what I'll say is, as an outro, is art should be ugly. Don't be scared to be ugly. Ugly is truly beautiful, and I hope you have a great day.